to another episode of Indy Eats, and this is a program that helps teach families to cook healthy, affordable, accessible meals in the home. And today's recipe is vegetable jambalaya. My name is Zach Adamson. I'm on the Indianapolis City Council, and we do cook a lot in our house. And today I am here with my good friend, Deputy Mayor David Hampton, who is going to introduce himself.
Well, thank you, Zach. It's great to be on the show today. If I can cook, anybody can cook. So looking forward to vegetable jambalaya, and great to be here.
Thanks, David. Tell me, are there some memories that you have that you remember growing up, spending time in the kitchen with family, with your parents or grandparents, or even today that you spend time with your family around that dining room table or in the kitchen that you can share with our audience?
I specifically remember Sunday dinners at my grandmother's house. She was the best cook, hands down. And so the entire family would go over to her house, and we'd have family get-togethers. Holidays were wonderful. So I was very fortunate and blessed to grow up with a family that ate together.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. It's such an important bonding tool for families. And hopefully, with this Indy Eats program, that we'll be able to help encourage families to start that process again and get the cooking in the home again.
Yes.
So with that, we're going to start the recipe today for vegetable jambalaya. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to need to do is to put some oil into a large sided saucepan or stock pot that you have, just so that we can start simmering some of these vegetables. So we'll get that heated up right now. We'll just add a little bit of vegetable oil to this pan back here. And we're going to use this to simmer the onions and green pepper and celery. Let me turn that on. Get that going. And so while that's heating up, we are going to chop the onion, pepper, and celery. And so we're going to let you do that. But the first thing we'll do is we'll take a couple of ribs of celery off the rest of that, and we're going to wash those off. So you can wash those right over there in that. What I like to do is to cut the tops off and then cut the big white ends off the other side. And then here, give me those pieces there. And we're going to save those in our scrap bucket there.
Good. All right. Chopping celery.
Yeah, chopping celery. Super easy. This is another one of those really easy recipes to follow. There we go. I'll have you put that inside there. Very good. Now let's go for the onion. This is a very large white onion, and the recipe calls for a medium onion, so we're using about half an onion, half of one of those large ones. You just, how about this? Lay it down like this and cut it right across the top there. There you go.
I was just testing to see if you knew how to do it.
And then slice that end off of there.
This right here?
Straight across here, right across there.
All right.
Yeah. Get that bottom half off. There you go. Here, let me get rid of that.
All right.
Not that one. Very small pieces of onion, yeah.
Okay. I've never cried cutting onions, but today might be the day. Smaller?
Yeah, that's great.
Okay.
That's great.
Okay.
Yeah, and you want to just keep chopping those up there.
Okay.
I'm going to slide that over here, and I'll put this in here. Again, cooking is not an exact science. It doesn't have to be their same size. If you like larger pieces of onion, then leave your pieces of onion larger. If you like smaller pieces of onion, leave them smaller. We do want to make sure that we get the ends of those onions off, though. Make sure you take that out. Yeah, there's a good piece. We'll throw that over there in the scraps. And just watch your fingers.
Yeah, I think I got the hang of it. That's a little bit better.
Yeah, much better. Yeah, that looks great.
All right.
Yeah, and I'll take this and throw this in here.
Cut that end off there.
Yeah. If you flip it around the other side, it'll lay on the flat end. There you go. And then give me that piece, and I'll get rid of that for you.
Okay.
Let me show you a real easy technique with the knife real quick. Is if you sort of leave that thing on there and then just leave your point down at all times, that'll kind of make it slide a little easier and a little nicer. And then you get them all together.
All right.
Try that.
Learn something new every day.
Yeah, they designed the knife with that curved edge so that it will just sort of slide right through that. And it also makes it a little slower so that it, if you do start to cut through your finger, you'll know early.
I'm crying.
Are you crying?
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna happen. That's probably enough onion. So
okay.
This was a really, really big onion. So now let's go for the green pepper. Now there's seeds in the middle of that.
All right. Cut it down the middle.
Well, what you can do is I like to just take my thumb and slide it right inside there and just split this in half. And then you kind of see what's going on in there.
Okay.
All those seeds, you just dump them in there.
Okay.
And take that piece and we're gonna slice them long ways. Yeah, you had it right. Just like this, across there, really thin slices, and then go across those pieces. And cooking should be an exciting process for the whole family, but there are certain things you don't want to let little kids do. And obviously handling knives or being around the stove is not something you want to do with little kids. But as much as you possibly can, it's a great idea to let the kids help and get used to being in the kitchen with the family, to be a part.
That's small enough?
Yeah,
It doesn't
that's
need to be
great.
small.
The nice thing about this recipe too is that all the ingredients are super easy to find and they are super cheap.
One of the things that, of course, you and I have talked about it, but Indianapolis is trying to address the food insecurity issue, and of course we have quite a few food deserts.
Yeah.
So
Yes, we do, and that's why so many families have been separated from healthy foods. All right, very good. And I think that's probably enough.
sorry.
That's all right. Green pepper too. There's a lot of, these were pretty big vegetables. So you just gotta eyeball these things. And if you like them, use them a little bit more. And with this pot pretty hot right now, we're gonna throw those in there. But before we do, one of the interesting facts about the jambalaya and Cajun food in general is Cajun food has a lot of similarities between various recipes. And one of the common themes is what they call the holy trinity of Cajun cooking. And there's the three ingredients is an onion, celery, and bell pepper, and green peppers. So we'll let you go ahead and throw that in there.
Okay.
Let me take the lid off. And this might sizzle a little bit, but go ahead and toss those in. What happened?
Fire went down.
It's pretty hot still. And we're gonna give that a stir. Where's the spatula there? Yeah.
Okay.
Is that hot?
Yeah.
That's where all the heat was going.
That good?
Yeah, we're gonna let that simmer there. All right, while these are cooking, we're gonna prepare the rice, which we actually started a little bit earlier so that it would get a head start on it. And that is in that pot right there. Put this on top of that so that cooks down a little bit. Whatever kind of rice you're using, the directions for the rice are going to be on the bag. And the best way to cook rice is however it says on the bag itself. And what we've got in there is white rice. And so that recipe, we're using 1.5 cups of water to 1 cup of rice. And so that's, let's get the fire under that.
Okay.
Okay, so the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to chop up all the other ingredients and get those ready to add in there while the peppers, the celery, and the onions are getting cooked up the first part. So the first thing we're going to do is separate the bulb of garlic into cloves, and we'll need 3 of those cloves. There you go.
All right.
1, 2.
Oh, let's take that. That might be small.
Yeah, I'd grab this one.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, there's a nice size one right there.
Okay.
All right. And so the easiest way I found to cut garlic is super easy. Let me show you the knife here. Is I like to take off that little hard piece right there. There were 2 of them hiding in there. And then you take the flat edge of the knife and set it right on top of there and just pop it like that.
Oh, wow.
And that just pops that skin right off there. And it's ready to be chopped.
It's a neat trick.
Same thing, yeah. Chop that piece off there. I'll chop this piece off here. And I'll let you try that.
Okay.
Let's grab this here.
This is my first time chopping garlic. Never chopped garlic before.
Did you give it a good smash?
Yeah. There's some more skin there. If families happen to be missing any part of the ingredients, are there substitutions that they can use?
Yeah, there'll be a lot of substitutions, primarily in whatever the protein source that you use. You can substitute that in there.
Okay.
Remember to wedge the knife, to kind of seesaw back and forth. There you go.
Yeah, that's much easier. All right, they're going in there.
Yeah, just pop that in there.
Okay.
Slide it a little closer there.
Okay.
All right, so now we're going to do the green chili.
All right.
And you cut the tip off that.
Cut the end off.
And we're going to toss that into the scrap bowl over there. Yeah, there you go. There you go. You want to mince this pretty fine because you don't want anyone to get a big mouthful of pepper. If you like the heat in a pepper, you can leave a lot of the seeds in there, but if you don't like the heat, you can slice it in half and take the seeds out, and that removes a little bit of the heat. But yeah, give it a really good mince. I'm gonna keep stirring these peppers and very good. And while he's chopping this tomato, and again, you want to chop off your ends first,
Okay.
and then slice it longways. One of the things you also want to do after you've cut peppers is to make sure you wash your hands, because when you scratch your face or your eye or something,
That's good.
there's a little towel right there. Yeah. I want you to scratch your eye or something later and get the pepper juice in there.
I'm already crying from the onions and then
Yeah.
get burnt with the pepper.
I would stand it up on that flat edge there. That way it
okay.
stays.
Cut it in half that way?
I
or
would do
cut the
just
sides.
yeah, just like that, and then go back over it until you get little tiny cubes. And while he does that, I'm going to measure out the spices. And so we have 2 bay leaves, and bay leaves come in a lot of different packages, but we're going to need 2 of them. So we'll pull 1, 2 of those out. And they're just dried leaves of the bay leaves. And 1 teaspoon paprika. 1 teaspoon. It's always good to have in any kitchen a set of good measuring spoons. That's 1 teaspoon paprika, 1 teaspoon garlic powder. And if you're not a big fan of garlic overall, you can substitute garlic powder instead of garlic. But it's 1 teaspoon of garlic powder, 1 teaspoon of cayenne pepper. And again, this is another item that if you're sensitive to the heat, you want to use a little bit less.
How's that looking right there?
That looks great.
All right.
That's perfect. And toss those in there, and then you're gonna throw that all inside with the onions and celery and green peppers. Scrape it off and then give it a good stir.
Looking good.
Yeah. All right, I'm gonna keep mixing this up. So we have 1 teaspoon of, or half a teaspoon of dried thyme. And I'm just putting these all in a small little container so it's all together. We do want to add a half a teaspoon of dried oregano. And 1 teaspoon salt. And 1 teaspoon pepper. Give that another stir back there, so you can hear the sizzling. Okay, now we have all our dry seasonings in here. I'll let you toss that in with the rest of those vegetables. And we're gonna also add 1 teaspoon of soy sauce. Here you go. I'm gonna let you add 1 teaspoon of soy sauce.
Okay.
There's the 1 teaspoon. You can just hold it right over the pan.
Sure.
All right.
Stir that really
Now
quickly.
give it a good stir there. And we're gonna let this kind of break down for a few minutes, like about a minute and a half, to let some of those tomatoes break down a little bit. Okay, now we're gonna add the rice and the broth and let that all finish cooking together, and all those flavors are gonna be able to marry in the last kind of 15 minutes. It says about 20 to 25 minutes to cook down. So you're gonna add about a cup and a half of vegetable broth to about a cup of rice and throw that in there. Yeah, the pepper's in the air. You're gonna add that to the rice. So go ahead and spoon
That's
that
going in
rice
there?
in the, yeah. Turn that down a little bit. We are gonna add a little bit of this in here. And give that a good stir. So while that is cooking down, we're gonna add the last little piece of this, but not quite until we're about 5 or 10 minutes before it ends, and this is gonna cook for about 20 minutes. But we're gonna add some pinto beans. You just buy a can of pinto beans, super easy. So I already flipped that lid up, pull that top off, and we're gonna rinse these beans off. So over the sink, put that strainer and pour those beans in there, and then just run some water over those beans to rinse off the liquid. And you can put some water in the can. Yeah, go ahead and set it down. There you go. The best way to describe it, you want to keep rinsing that, is
Okay.
as soon as you stop seeing bubbles, then you know it's rinsed off
Okay.
enough. That's very good. Now just let the vegetables cook down for just a few minutes, and then we'll add the beans.
Okay.
This is the point in which we can make some choices in exactly what kind of recipe that we're going to have. And because ours is a vegetable jambalaya, we're not going to use any meat protein, but we are going to use a protein that comes from the pinto beans.
So Zach, usually with jambalaya, there's sausage and other meats and ingredients. Well, what do the beans do to substitute?
Well, the beans are just exactly that. They're a substitute. So if you did want to have sausage or chicken or some other protein source, this is when you would add that. So now that we've got these pinto beans rinsed off, it's time to add those to the jambalaya.
Okay.
There we go. And give those a stir there. Cover it up and let it set for about 2 or 3 more minutes, and it should be ready to go. Okay, and now after about 20-25 minutes, the jambalaya is ready, and we're gonna serve that up and give it a try. I'll let you do the honors.
And now to the fun part.
We have with us our amazing Mama Ray, who is infamous in the city of Indianapolis for her cooking, and she's gonna give us some of her wisdom gonna be bestow on us.
Well, I tell you, it looks good. I was amazed at how fast you cook this. I have made jambalaya once or twice in my life, and it took forever. This was quick, so if you're in a hurry, you can do this very quickly. I don't see any meat in here, and so they say it's wonderful. It's not supposed to have any meat in it. It's vegetarian. So I can't wait to taste it and see what it's all about, and then I'll give you my professional opinion.
Yes.
So shall we try this?
Taste it up.
All right.
All right, here we go.
Masterpiece here.
Well, the one thing I can say is I need no water.
It's awfully spicy.
It's very spicy.
Very
For
spicy.
those folk like myself who cannot tolerate a lot of spice, use a little less pepper. You might want to leave out the chili. Or if you use the chili, cut it in half and take out the seeds. And that will make the heat a lot less. So therefore, I'm not going to try anymore. And if you excuse me, just
I like the heat.
I do too.
It is flavorful. I'm getting all kind of flavors out of this. I can't say enough about this. And you say you don't cook?
I don't cook.
You're good.
And I keep eating it.
Yeah, I know this.
I can't put it down.
Well, and I think the nice thing about it is, say you take a dish that is traditionally has large quantities of meats of a lot of different kinds, and you can substitute beans for that protein source, and you never miss it. So I think that's one of the nice things about these
Yeah.
dishes that we're preparing so far.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
and I have found that out. So the next time we make this, we won't make it as spicy so I can continue to eat because it's really good. It has really
is
good
good.
flavor.
Yeah.
Really good flavor. And you are excellent in instructing.
Well, thank you. Thank you. It means a lot coming
You
from
are
you.
excellent.
Well, thank you. I just
And
chopped
you're a
up the
quick
vegetables.
But it takes a skill, but trust me. Trust me, it takes a skill.
Well, I couldn't have done it
Especially the
without
way
Zach.
You did it.
Hey, but look,
He was the
look,
general.
The cutting is perfect. All the pieces are
Mhm.
the size that you want them to be.
Absolutely.
Perfect.
I'm amazed at how this tastes so good without meat. It tastes really good with sausage when I was eating meat, but this is amazing.
It
Yeah,
is.
with the beans.
And I think for me, if I want, since I won't have the spice in it, I would probably, for myself, I'd probably put a little soy in it. It would give it a different flavor, but it would give me the taste that I want because I can't use the spice. So I would have it just a little bit more salty or savory
Okay.
versus spicy.
Right.
And with that soy in it, and we're going to use low sodium soy.
Right.
Thinking about your sodium content, that's what I would use.
And that's the
But
beauty.
that's just a personal thing.
Yeah.
And that's the beauty part, as he was about to say, about all the dishes that I have tried so far. You can customize them to yourself. You can make them however you want. Spicy, savory. it's your choice.
Right.
But while you're doing it, enjoy it.
Make it your own. Make it your own. That's the whole point of getting in the kitchen and getting so familiar with spending time in the kitchen, cooking meals. The more you do it, the more comfortable you'll be, and the more you'll be able to add your own personal touches to every meal that you create, and that's how you make it your own.
And then too, with this, you can also incorporate your children. The children would love making this. Of course, you wouldn't make it as spicy for the children. But I keep talking about the spice. I'm sorry. But you wouldn't make it as spicy for the children, so you would make it, and then you would add some cayenne pepper to your own bowl. But the children could be in here chopping and cutting and so forth with you as well. And then you could sit around and talk about how you did it, and what it meant to them cooking with mom or dad or whomever. And it's just it can be fun.
Right.
It can be fun.
So make it your own. Have a good time, and we'll see you next time on Indy Eats.